We made this.
Hello everyone and welcome to Pick a Disc. I'm your host Matt Latham and this is the podcast where someone picks a disc to talk about for whatever reason they want to. But today's slightly different. No one's picking a disc. It's pick a list. Wow, why didn't I call this pick a list? And I've done all the graphics and everything in the video. Yeah, dealing with me. Yeah, so someone picks a list to talk about for whatever reason they want to. Yeah, I really should have called it that. Anyway, Helena Deakin is back. It's been a long while since she's been on the podcast, but I'm glad that she's back and she's here to pick 10 songs related to Valentine's/love songs. And that's the theme of that's it. You're not going to know what they are until you listen to the episode. If you've listened to the Christmas episode all the way back in 2019, where I spoke to Colin about Christmas songs, it's going to be a bit like that. So Helena has picked like 10 songs to talk about and their relation to love. So yeah, it's some interesting picks and some nice conversations throughout. So you're going to be listening to that if you carry on listening to this. But before you listen to this, let me just let you know that you can follow us on Twitter, if it still exists, Facebook or Instagram, under Pick a Disc. Also in the show notes is a link to the Pick a Discord, where there's a Discord server based on this podcast. So if you fancy coming in and saying hello, come in and say hello. So yeah, I think that is it. I can't think of anything else to say or plug, so let's talk to Helena.
I feel like I know what I'm doing. This is my fourth time, right?
Fifth.
What am I forgetting about then? I've done Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah.
I've done Caroline Polachek.
Yeah.
Slow Club.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea. Sorry.
Sylvan S.O.
Ah, of course it was.
Yeah. And I think that is that still... Let me just quickly check something. That might still be... no, it's not. It was for ages the most recent album that we covered on the podcast.
That's interesting.
But, I mean, to be fair, the only ones that have overtook it are like the last couple of episodes, which is the K-Fay album and Alt J's The Dream.
Nice.
And for some reason, my timeline has The Con by Tegan and Sarah and Hamilton soundtrack coming in as the wrong year. I mean, the Hamilton soundtrack didn't come out in 2025. What's going on?
In the future.
Okay, that's weird. Yeah, so apparently the Hamilton soundtrack, I put 25 instead of 15, and
wow,
2022 instead of 2007 for Tegan and Sarah.
I was going to say, that must have been a long, long time ago.
Yeah, that was The Con, which was, I think, 2007, not 2022. But, so you got the third, so that's still like the third from youngest album we covered on the podcast.
Wow, fascinating.
Yeah. Helena Deakin, everybody, she's back.
Way! Thanks for having me. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, I think just as we start recording, like the last time you were on was in November 2020.
How has it been that long?
It's episode. So we're on episode 107. This is episode 49. No, that was episode 49. You was last time. I was
Other way
around.
Yeah, episode 107. Crikey.
Yeah. So I mean, for the long-term listeners, how you been? Have you been okay?
Yeah, I've been really good, thank you. Really good. Been busy, but good.
Yeah, we'll have a quick chat about that near the end because I'll quiz you a bit about that. But of course, I'm not here to talk about you. Not talk about you. We're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk
about you.
Well, this is actually not a traditional episode of the podcast. Anyone who's listened to the Christmas episode from 2019 might get an idea of what this one is. So originally, in that episode, we talked about Christmas, and anyone who's listening on the day of release might know that today is a very special day. It's Christmas, but it's not Christmas Day. It's Valentine's Day. Today, in quotation marks.
Today is Valentine's Day. There we go.
So, and I made the call, and I thought, you know what better to let's try and do something relevant for once, and discuss love songs. So
Yes.
put the call out, and Helena herself came and said, "Oh, this might be interesting." So
I thought it might be a challenge, so here we are.
yeah. So you've picked 10 songs, and we're going to go through each one of them one by one. But and we're not going to reveal them now. We're going to probably reveal them as we go through. But what was your thought process when you came to this then? So when you first agreed to do it, how did you approach this playlist?
When I first came to do it, I thought, oh yeah, this will be easy. Yeah, I'm sure I like love songs. And then as I slowly went through like loads of my playlists and like most liked songs, most listened to songs, that sort of thing, I realized that I really, really love sad songs. And this was harder than I had anticipated. Yeah. But I actually did have to narrow it down. So I spent a while. But, my day job is putting playlists together, so I should have found it easier for that. But yeah, it was interesting. I wanted to make sure I had songs from different genres, different times, and get a good mixture of male and female on there. Mm-hmm. And I do think I have more women, but I picked some really good ones, so I'm going to stick with that. Choice.
Yeah, and I think we're going to kind of delve into what the definition of a love song is in terms of what people might initially think of and what can be classed as a love song and what's songs about potential stuff as well. And some of the songs you've picked on here, there are some kind of interesting choices in terms of a couple of them are not straight kind of romantic songs, but they could be argued be. I think this is your sad song obsession leaking in.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I think it is. I've put one in here as well, which is kind of, I would class it as a love song, but also it has a bit of personal meaning. So it's like I have to pop that in there. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit on the sadder side. So yeah.
Okay. So in terms of kind of love songs in general and that definition, it's quite interesting that as I was doing kind of research for this, you've got sites going, the top 100 love songs of all time, and it's like sometimes like Endless Love or something like that. But then you've got other, I think timeout.com had stuff like God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. Songs that we reference beforehand. I'm going to make a conscious effort not to refer to anyone that we're saying. So songs that we're going to refer to won't be on the playlist, just for anyone thinking of going to spoil stuff. But so, and I think there's at least a song on this playlist that was on that list as well as like a love song, but then goes, this song isn't about blah blah. And what do you think makes a good love song in general, or qualifies as be a love song?
I don't know. That's my honest answer. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think it's really tricky because I think there are songs that people write that are sad songs, and even like one-sided kind of love stories that I would still class as love songs. And there are songs, that are straight up ballads. I don't really know what it should, what a love song is kind of on paper. I just, when it comes to me thinking about love songs, I have to think about like, does it like evoke some sort of emotion in me? And if it does, then I'm going to class that as a love song. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I mean, like other sites were saying, Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On" is a love song, which it's about love and it soundtracks one of the most popular romantic movies of all time. But again, considering the movie it soundtracks and the song, when you listen to the song itself, there's an element of tragedy in it. So it's not a happy ending. And I'm like, I always think that people, on first like definition of it, like love songs are always the positive kind of songs. And I think when you gave me the list, I was like, okay, that one actually, I think that one's slightly more depressing than perhaps uplifting, but then it is still about love. And if it's about love, is it a love song?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's interesting because this in autumn last year, I sang at my cousin's wedding, and I did a full set, and I found that really fascinating because I'm not someone that sings covers normally
Mm-hmm.
or does that sort of thing. I found it a challenge. And I also found it interesting to find that a lot of the classic love songs are are sad, and the sort of thing that I chatted to a friend of mine who is a professional wedding singer, and I asked her advice, and there's some beautiful songs that she sings that I would also class as slightly sad ballads, but
Mm-hmm.
are the like, I don't know, like quintessentially love songs, love stories, the things that you would think of to hear at a wedding, that sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So yeah, I found that very interesting.
So the songs you sang at the wedding, if any of them are on this list, don't, if any of them are on this, unless this is just like you set the whole set list.
There are actually two songs on this playlist that I did do in my wedding set list.
But were they more were they more kind of positive wedding day stuff? You weren't like singing heartbreak songs.
No, no. Oh my gosh. No, I was not. I had to pull myself away from those sad songs for one day only.
I got this image of like image of like you being pulled away. Says, Helena, I'm going to tell you this right now. Positive only.
Yeah. So I gotta stop you right there. You're absolutely killing the vibe right now.
Yeah. But what's quite interesting as well is that, so I just did a quick Google of classic love songs, and Google has that, like I say, it's new, it's probably been there for ages now, where like it'll list songs in a kind of like expandable table.
Yeah.
And again, God Only Knows by the Beach Boys, which isn't really a good, I don't think it's like a happy song. It's actually quite melancholic when I think about it. Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper is classed as a classic love song. And again, that's one I always assumed was a negative. Again, there's a couple on the playlists on here. Interestingly, Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor is on here, which haunted me as a child.
No way.
Because I think that's like a really depressing kind of sad.
Yeah.
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 But I'm now kind of questioning myself about whether it's a case of it being a positive song with a very kind of depressing. I can't. I'm trying to remember the lyrics in my head now, and I can't remember. But
I know I can't. That's why I'm like staring off to the side, like, no, yeah. But I suppose it's all subjective, isn't it, of what we class? But no, it is interesting, and that is what I found because I did the whole googling of the top 100 love songs when I put my like set list together for my cousin's wedding, and there are a lot of shockers in there, which is like, that's too sad. I can't sing that.
Yeah.
And especially when it's just you and an acoustic guitar, you gotta at least be singing happy songs. But no, I'm all for a sad love song, and I think maybe they're, I don't know, underrated a bit.
Yeah, and then the songs here which people misinterpret as love songs, like I mean, "Wonderful Tonight" by Eric Clapton.
I don't know it.
You look wonderful tonight.
Oh, I know it.
Yeah, that's a song that people think is a love song, but when you think about it, it's basically him kind of almost gaslighting his partner, or just so.
Okay.
So yeah, "You Look Wonderful Tonight" is actually a very sarcastic. Well, you look wonderful tonight.
Yeah, that.
When you actually think about it, and yeah, one of my favourite songs ever is on this list, which I would never consider as a love song, but then possibly is, which is "There Is a Light That Never Goes Out" by the Smiths.
Oh, I should have known you would be that would be on one of your top songs. I suppose that's the same thing, isn't it? It's the same depressing, but somehow still loving. Because
actually, that's actually thinking about it. I think that song is actually quite an uplifting song wrapped in a very humorous, dark humour.
Yeah,
which I wouldn't have thought of it of a love song. But then when you just think about the lyrics, it's it's a very dark, twisted, romantic.
It definitely is.
Yeah,
definitely is. Yeah, I spent a lot of time listening to the Smiths when I was 16, my boyfriend at the time was obsessed, and any time it would ever come on anywhere, I'd be like, not again. But enough time has passed now that I can enjoy them again.
Yeah, then I mean, slightly tarnished by the fact that I have to constantly refer to them as Johnny Marr's band, or the singer from Johnny Marr's band.
I understand.
Yeah, which is slightly annoying, but yeah, and I mean, coming into this as well, I think when you first agreed, I was like, part of me was like, oh, I'm pretty sure Helena said she was always a kind of sad song person, so it's going to be an interesting playlist and stuff. And I was thinking about, but yeah, then again, I'm probably not the best person to host an episode on Valentine's Day on Valentine's Day about love songs. To put it in perspective, this is episode 100. As a treat that I work towards, we talked about my favourite album of all time, and the name of that album is called "Romance Is Boring." So that gives you a.
That's where we're at. Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day, guys.
Yes, this is the biggest. The Pick a Disc Valentine's Day special. But yeah, I was like, and I thought, I went through, so I've got like a playlist on Spotify with it's about 150 songs, which is a mixture of songs that I really, really like and some of my all-time favourites. And I went through them, and this is before I kind of flipped on the idea that a love song isn't just about love songs stuff. I thought I went through all of them and counted how many kind of positive love songs there'd be. I got to about track 48 before I got to one. And continuing
about right.
And continuing to about, I think, 153 songs that are there, I found two.
Oh wow.
But
I understand that, because when I was putting this together, I was like, oh, I don't want to put too many cliche love songs in here. I don't. Yeah. And I also needed to pick things that I would choose to listen to too. Yeah. You know, it has to be, felt like I had to be authentically sad.
But I think, yeah. So of the two songs, one of them is "Let Loose Is Crazy for You," which I would maintain. I think I was not at 9 years old. I was telling people it was my favourite song ever.
That's really cute.
Yeah. And the other one is actually a song that's on your playlist.
Ooh.
So I don't know whether to give you, like, I don't know, to have a kind of game of whether if we get to the song you think is on is my favourite songs ever. So if you wanna see if you can figure it out, you only have one guess.
I only have one guess. I think I've narrowed it down to two, so maybe by the time we get there, I'll get it right.
Yeah, so you're only allowed to guess once, so you can't just go, is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one? So
what? Guess 10 times.
Yeah. And goes, is it this one? No, you can't. So you're gonna. So yeah, you got a card. a fictional card to play. So you have
Perfect.
to. Yeah.
Perfect.
Which one of these is in Matt's list of favourite songs? I think we're going to go. I think because we're going to spend more time talking about the songs in this episode, we'll move to them in a second. Before we begin, two of these songs have actually been talked about in previous episodes. I know you said, "Oh, do you want me to change them?" And I was like, "No, I kind of want to revisit them and see how I feel about them." So two of them are ones that appeared on previous albums. Another song has also appeared in a way that if I say what I was about to say would spoil it, because I'm pretty sure it's one of the only ones of those kinds of albums we've covered. So I'm gonna not mention that first, but yeah. So we've got a kind of interesting mix of kind of songs from like the different spectrum of quote unquote love on Valentine's Day. So it's not all kind of love-dovey. There's a few interesting things to talk about. A few songs that I know of, a few songs that I've never heard before. So yeah, let's get to it. So Helena, why don't you tell the lovely listeners the first track that you've picked for us to talk about today?
Oh, so the first song, which actually was maybe my easiest song to put on this playlist, which is why it's number one, was "Butterflies" by Casey Musgraves, from her album Golden Hour, of course.
Yep, and Golden Hour was an episode that we covered in... I should have looked this up beforehand. April of last year, when I spoke to George from the Songs for When podcast about Casey Musgraves' Golden Hour. So why did you open with Butterflies?
Oh, because, and I'll tell you why, I did think this through, is because it's about falling in love with somebody and that feeling of getting butterflies. I know you can't see me, but I'm doing like quotation marks.
Yeah, she's doing the quotation marks.
But yeah, it's the whole story of meeting someone and then falling in love with them. And it is a love song, and it's kind of a growing love song, and you kind of feel that as you go through the song. So this was an easy starting point for me on this playlist journey, just because it felt right to say that this was the opening love song to my playlist, I suppose.
That's your professional playlist curation kicking in as well. Yeah,
you got to make it a good story.
Well, as well. Yeah, I think it's saying it is kind of like the storytelling is about the beginning of kind of relationship, even before relationship, or just the beginning of feelings and stuff. And it's an interesting. It's not interesting. It's probably like a good choice to start off, because you're kind of chronicling the story and stuff. And thinking about it now, I'm wondering whether you've actually crafted a narrative in these in the playlist.
I have to be honest, not in all of them and not totally, but this one felt like the right place to start. It was also the first song that popped into my head, because that this song is the perfect thing to listen to when you have that feeling, when you've just met someone, when you're trying to, figure out how you feel about them. How do they make you feel? So this was just very easy. And I also did just adore, I love all of Casey Musgrave's albums, but this one for me this is what got me. So this song and that album, the whole album is about falling in love with somebody. So yeah.
I can't remember exactly what I said on the episode in the time, but if people want to find out, you can go back and listen if you haven't listened to it. It's like a kind of nice, kind of like relaxing, almost. It doesn't unsettle. It's not unsettling, even though what it's describing is unsettling. It's more the like enjoyment of that feeling rather than the dread. Because I think, which is a nice change from the majority of the stuff that I listen to, which is the oh god, butterflies go.
Well, there's one of those songs in this playlist for sure. We'll get there.
Yeah. But so it's a nice kind of like easing into the playlist. So you're a fan of Casey Musgraves. So have you seen Casey Musgraves live? Or?
Do you know, I haven't. And I had a friend when she played in London last year. I had a friend who was selling a ticket. And I think I was at a different gig that night, and I had to wipe away a little tear. I'd have loved to, just somehow that passed me by entirely. I would love to see her live. I've watched like numerous live videos of her, and she is spectacular. Her voice is amazing. And yeah, I think she would be fantastic to see live. I actually, from this list, I realized that I've only seen one of these. And I'm so sad. I wish I could say that I've seen tons of them and every single one. It's so difficult. It's so difficult. But no, Casey Musgraves, I would absolutely love to see live. Her band is also fantastic. She's got some fantastic guitar players in her band that I would, absolutely love to see.
Right. Okay. So in order to make it level-headed, if I get the cards and try and guess which one you've seen live.
I don't think you'll guess it, but please do try.
Okay.
When we get to it, you let me know.
Okay, yeah, I think there are some which I think I might be. Oh, yeah, I can probably see, but then there are others which are like, you know what, possibly at some point. Right. Okay.
Curious, eh?
Yeah. So we're going to move on. So we're going to move on to the second track, and when you reveal the second track for us, please.
The second track is "Love You for a Long Time" by Maggie Rogers.
Maggie Rogers is someone, the name's familiar, but I don't know that much.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you see the video with her and Pharrell Williams?
No.
So she went to university in New York, and they had Pharrell Williams in to listen to some of their like graduates kind of final pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And when she played him her song, he was absolutely like just awestruck, really. And he said, "You're doing something so different that I've not heard before." because her roots are in folk. She started learning to play guitar. She plays the banjo, and then she wanted to do something a bit different. So she started doing kind of folk with an electronic twist.
Mm-hmm.
So her first EP and her first album has a lot more of that side of things. But then as she's gone on, she's kind of written more like folk indie rock kind of vibes. So she kind of flits between the two vibes, which I really enjoy. And she fills both, she fills the space for both equally with like the same amount of kind of grace and kind of, wonder. She just seems to do it very well. And she's a great songwriter and she's a great lyricist. And this song, yeah, I fell in love with her first EP when I was in Florida in 2017 with my auntie and her friends. I was in Canada, and then my auntie said, "Do you want to go to Florida for a week?" Yes, please. That sounds lovely. And I was listening to this in the back of her friend's like soft top car in the heat. So like listening to Maggie Rogers has a real kind of nostalgic summer holiday vibe for me. But when she released this song, which definitely has a more kind of acoustic, folky, kind of indie undertone, I was in love from the get-go. But the lyrics are lovely, and I think this song, I've not heard her talk about what it's written about, but I feel like for me this song could be a romantic love story and also a love story that you'd have with friends and people that you choose, to spend your time with and have in your life. I think it could be one of those that, yes, maybe it comes off the bat more romantic, but that it definitely, I think it could kind of be a love song to anybody that you love in your life. And I enjoy that.
Yeah, I think, what's interesting is that I think, again, with the kind of idea of love songs is more romantic love than anything, but then there's there's platonic love, there's familiar love.
Yeah.
And there are songs and I think probably even kind of the more interesting songs will probably cover and apply that to quite a few other things and stuff, or something more deeper than that, or as one website said, love can be the quote unquote physical kind. Which
interesting.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's not many songs about that kind.
Well,
well, if you get to tracks 3, 4, 5, 7, and but this one, I say I've not listened to Maggie Rogers before, so this is one that came new to me, and again, one of the first things I was listening to this first thing, a lot of the things I was getting to was like I can kind of see how Helena likes it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So this is like it was like I could. So at this point, this was like the songs. I'm like, what was kind of the sound I was expecting. Went from the list and stuff, and I think as we go on, there's a couple that I was quite surprised with. But yeah, so I was like, okay, yeah, this was okay. So this is like and then with the kind of electronic amount, probably not this song, but from what you're describing, I'm assuming there's very crossovers with Sylvan Esso in kind of the sound in the electronic.
Yes and no, but love them for the same reasons. So yes, it is that crossover that I really, really enjoy. But yeah, you need to listen to Maggie Rogers. You've got to delve into that because she is an exquisite songstress, that's for sure.
Any suggestions of which album to?
I would say go straight in at the start. Listen to her first EP, which is what is it called? I am Now That the Light is Fading. That is the EP that you need to listen to, and then once you've done that, then you need to listen to Heard It in a Past Life, and then we can talk from there.
Okay, so where's the next song?
The next one is one that I did sing at my cousin's wedding, and it's You're Still the One, Shania Twain. I love this song. I can't deny it. I have no shame. Shania Twain is a babe. I just love her. I also enjoy the story of knowing kind of that this song was about her husband, Mutt, and yeah, and then knowing what happened further down the line, it makes me sad. So yeah,
Yeah.
the sadness in me is somehow, you know, the kind of sad song loving human being that I am is fulfilled with this song, because also I know that I've, like, on the other side of it, it's still very sad.
Yeah, because what threw me for a second is that I didn't realise this was a Shania Twain song. I thought this was a cover of an older song
Ah,
at first, and I was like, but then I was listening. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I remember when this came out. I'm pretty sure I remember when this came out as a single. But for some reason, I always assumed it was a cover of like a song from the 70s or
right.
something, like not the Carpenters, but someone Barry Carpenter's, Karen Carpenter-esque
Yes.
kind of
Yeah,
song and
I
stuff.
feel you.
Yeah, I always assumed it was one of these. When I kind of read into it and going, oh, it was written by Train, I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was a much older song than I gave credit for. What I quite like with the story is that it stemmed from over 3 years of press speculation that Shania was using her husband Mutt Lange solely for a career, and that her marriage wouldn't last beyond that point.
Yeah.
And they wrote a song to deal with the criticism. And it's a really kind of like nice song, and the message and the story kind of works really well. And then you read the Wikipedia article about it, and it goes, "Oh yeah, they divorced in 2010 because he cheated on her with the best friend." So
So sad. But yeah,
yeah,
it's a slow jam, isn't it? But it's
mm,
lovely. The lyrics, like, ain't nothing better, we beat the odds together.
mm,
I like that. I'm glad we didn't listen. Look at what we could be missing. Like, that's cute. It's really cute. I really enjoy it. I do think this is a proper love song. It's just got that sadness that we all love to love.
I think as well. I think what I quite, cause I don't think I remember. I don't remember the intro that often, because I don't know whether the intro is either like just for the album or just never put onto the single stuff. But when this first song started playing, and I was like, "Oh, is it this? Is it this song?" But then it doesn't sound like what the song turns out to be. There's like what I think are kind of digitized church organs at
Right.
the very start, as she's like doing that kind of like spoken introduction bit. And I was like, I don't remember church organs being in this song, but no, yeah,
Wow.
I can really. It's the message to it is actually quite sweet, and I think the chorus itself is one that's always remembered. I mean, the chorus is kind of like a new worm, and it's kind of stuck there. So when the chorus was playing, I mean, again, I thought it was much older than it was. It's one of those. I think it gives it a kind of like almost
Yeah,
timeless feel.
absolutely. I would agree. And also is just a fantastic song to play and sing,
Hmm.
acoustically as well. It's just enjoyable. And it
Yeah.
just has a nice tempo.
Hmm.
What I'm saying is I just enjoy it.
So let's move on to the next song.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know, what's the next song?
The next song. The next song is Everywhere, Fleetwood Mac,
Hmm.
for the hero that is Christine McVie. She is, she was one of the most wonderful songwriters of all time, in my opinion. And she's a Brummie.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah, she's I remember, so yeah, I remember just reading in the Wikipedia article, particularly when 'cause she recently passed away, and yeah, she was from Brummie and stuff, and then but I might edit this. She grew up in the Bearwood area of Smethwick near Birmingham, in a place near me, but
Which is in the vicinity somewhere in this somewhere in
yeah,
this city.
still doesn't beat that. When I realised that Kevin Rowland from Dexys pretty much grew up in Wensfield, which is like like right next to where I grew up.
You're kidding.
No, yeah, Kevin, yeah, Dexy's been on. Yeah, he grew up in Wensfield.
If you could see the shocked look on my face, that was what I like. Oh, as a child, I loved them.
Yeah,
How did I not know this?
yeah.
Mind blown.
Me and my friend Addis talk about this in the episode where we talk about the album whose name I've suddenly forgotten, and really how bad it doesn't. The album we come on and lean on.
I obviously need to go and listen to that. I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And where I used to live was right next to the school where Noddy Holder went to school. But
yeah, my funny enough, my mum's maiden name is Holder. So when she was growing up, everyone called her Noddy. So yeah, cute, very cute. But yeah, everywhere. Fleetwood Mac. Is a classic. I feel like we can call it a classic now, right?
Yeah.
It is an absolute classic. And yeah, you just can't go wrong. Christine McVie's voice just does something to my soul that I can't explain. She just hits the nail on the head every time.
Mm-hmm.
It just, and lyrically, and everything, like Lindsey Buckingham's guitar on this, the Mick Fleetwood, all of it, the bass, everything. I just love it all individually for what it is, and then as a whole. I have to say that Fleetwood Mac, when I was growing up, there were a few bands that my dad played kind of relentlessly, and Fleetwood Mac is one of those. And I have the deepest love for every Fleetwood Mac song ever. And when I hit my kind of late teens, I kind of dedicated a kind of different chunks of a year to listening to every single album in really intensely. And yeah,
so and that includes all the Peter Green stuff.
Interestingly enough, I don't enjoy it as much, which is an unpopular opinion. And I had many debates about this when I was doing my music degree. It divided the people. Yeah,
well, basically, the before rumours.
Yeah,
before rumours era. Yeah.
So I've listened to that stuff and I like it, but the more poppy kind of catchy thing is just my jam. So yeah, my dad loves the Peter Green stuff as well, but this is what rumours is what kind of pulled me in. And then when I heard Everywhere, that was just me. Hook, line and sinker, to be honest.
I really quite like Everywhere. Because this is from Tango in the Night, which is another previous episode that we covered. So covered Tango in the Night, and Everywhere. I think I remember saying that my first real memory of the song is actually a cover version that was released in, I think in the early noughties. There was a dance version which was
oh my glory.
But it wasn't a dance version, but it was just it sounded exactly the same, except that they put a filter on the vocals during certain bits and amped up the bass in certain parts and stuff. But
fantastic.
Now there are parts of this song that I've always followed. I've always loved the introduction. That is it? What is it? Is it piano? Is it sampled sound? Is it a guitar? I'm not.
Oh, I don't know. And I wish I could give you a straight up, this is what it is. It sounds, I don't know if it is a sample. It sounds more.
Or if it's a keyboard with an effect on the.
Is it a synth? I don't know. It could definitely be a synth. That is for sure. I absolutely love it. I love it. But yeah, that just immediately grabs you, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, and I think one of my other things I quite like about this song is the kind of the ooh-ah bit in the thing. The amount of times that's happened in kind of disco, when the songs come on and stuff, and there's always a race of who can hold the ah before someone starts singing the other bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Been there. But just the lyrical content. I want to be with you everywhere. I want to be with you everywhere. Ding, ding, ding. Just like it.
Yeah.
It's a vibe.
Right. So, okay, we're going to get. So we're about to reach the halfway point with track 5. Before we do that, now because there's 2 bands that are in my Have You Seen These Live?
Right.
Before I play the card, why don't you reveal the next song, everyone?
The next song is Friday I'm in Love by The Cure.
Have you seen these live?
No.
Ah, damn it. Well, that's the card burnt.
Shall I reveal who I have seen live? Because we have already discussed them.
Oh, okay. Is it Fleetwood Mac?
It sure is. I saw them in 2015 when Lindsey Buckingham was still there. And I'd kind of thought, oh, I'll never see them live. They're a band that they're probably my all-time favorite band, I think. And I thought, I kind of obviously born a bit late, like missed the boat. And then my dad was like, bought you a ticket to see them. And they came out. I cried. Best night of my life. Literally, it was exquisite. And I saw them in Birmingham, and Christine McVie had all her family there. And she was talking about how it was a home show. And I have never felt prouder to be a Brummie. Oh my gosh. But yeah.
You didn't sleep. Did the accent come back?
No.
Oh.
I know.
Oh,
she was like, all right, Christine McVie. It's lovely to be in.
I'm going to sing a song now. It's called Everywhere. Everywhere from Sutton Coldfield. From Sutton Coldfield to Rubery to Ladywood.
Imagine. It would be so good.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not going to say Solihull's not part of Birmingham, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Well, I can't remember what's next to it, but you know what I mean. Yeah. This is everywhere.
Everywhere.
Any of y'all like listen to Rumours? Oh my god. Oh my.
I hope people that are Brummies are enjoying this as much as we are.
Oh my god. Oh man. I'm so sad that we've lost Kristen V, as I really would love to Brummie Kristen V.
I know, that would have been exquisite. Oh man, I can't believe she's gone. It's such a tragedy.
Yeah, I'm all right, Stevie.
Yeah, literally. I can't believe you didn't guess that one. I thought when you said it, I was like, he's got it. We're a go.
Yeah, I think it was going to be more one of the what I refer to as the legacy acts. So it was going to be either The Cure or actually I thought it was going to be The Cure or one that's to come. But
you have to tell me what you think what your other option was there that comes later on.
But as I say that, I'm pretty sure they didn't. I can't remember if they actually formed. But anyway, yeah, without revealing it. Okay, so The Cure, Friday I'm in Love.
It's a classic. It is an absolute banger of a love song. I feel like this one was easy to choose as well. I just love, just even the opening line. I don't care if Monday's blue. I could go on and sing.
Yeah.
I could talk the whole song to you, but I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's a poetry in the lyrics and stuff.
Yes,
stuff. The structure of the song is great. The fact that managed to get 8-line verses in a 5-day week.
Smashed it, absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
No, it's just a lovely song, and I feel like I kind of came to The Cure quite late, and I'm not a diehard fan. I don't know all of their catalogue at all, but there are definitely songs that I do adore, and this is one of them for sure. It is always, I think, also in one of my favourite films about time. It's on the soundtrack, and I'm always like, when a good film has a good soundtrack with a song like this, it's going to be good, But yeah.
The Cure. I think The Cure one has bands that I remember kind of in the whole discography of many years ago. But they're also a band that, because the discography is massive, is very intimidating to get into.
Yeah,
and so I think I had one of the best ofs and listened to that a lot. And I've always kind of meant to delve into the albums a bit more, because I do feel as if I really quite like The Cure. The more album stuff of The Cure, or at least there are probably elements of them that I would really like.
Yeah, maybe that should be. I don't believe in kind of New Year's resolutions, and luckily we're a bit past hopefully. That now, but maybe that should be one of my 2023 aims, is to listen to all of their repertoire, because
yeah. I think I know the Colin, who's I think the only guest to be on more episodes of this than you have. He's on 6. Yeah, he's at 6 at the moment.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, Colin.
I think there's a good year between his last visit as well. So it's all these new people I'm meeting. But yeah, I think I'm pretty sure. I think he said that his favourite band is The Cure, and I'm guaranteed I can. If he's listened to this, I'm pretty sure he's probably already crafting the playlist. He goes no, Matt's got to listen to these.
Yeah, so, I'd like to hear that too, please. That sounds good.
yeah. If you listen to this, Colin, yeah.
That's a request from us. Yeah.
But this is a great song. It's one of the ones that stood out when I listened to the Greatest Hits as well.
Yeah.
I can't really fault it. So, if we're moving on, what's song 6?
So, song 6 is a song called "I Feel Better" by Nova Amor.
I thought this was from the 80s when I first listened to it.
Oh, I think I understand that, actually. Nova Amor, I absolutely adore him. Absolutely adore. And all of his songs are beautifully crafted. But this one hits different. And this isn't a kind of a textbook love song. This is a little bit on the sadder side. But the lyrics are, "I feel better most of the time. Don't make a mess of my love." And I really enjoy that because it feels honest, and it's not like sugarcoating what being with somebody is like, or falling in love with somebody is like. It's not always sunshine and roses. It doesn't always feel easy. It's not always, kind of as you might want it from start, And I enjoy this song because I feel like it fills that kind of space for me. And also that I fell in love in 2020 during the pandemic, and I was driving my mum's car to go to outside walks. And I listened to this song, and the album this song is off. And so this song for me is maybe on this playlist, like my most kind of held close song. Because I really love listening to this. It's a bit gross, isn't it? But I love it because I just at the time remember thinking please don't make a mess of my love. I love that. And he hasn't, so that's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is like one of the ones you put in because of the personal connection you got to it, and it soundtracks that.
Yeah, it does. I thought I undenied. I took it out once and then I put it back in, and I was like, no, I'm going to keep this in there. It means a lot to me, and I think it is a love song. I think it's a slightly different definition of one, but it definitely gets you at that vulnerable point.
Yeah.
And have you listened to much Nova Amor?
No, this was brand new, so
welcome. You're going to enjoy yourself over here.
Right, let me add that to the list as well.
Yeah, please.
Where do I start?
Yeah, literally. I will actually send you some of his stuff because it is beautiful, and he plays some gorgeous vintage guitars, and the sound is just great. It's lovely.
Yeah, I think from this there's it's acoustic, but is there a bit of electronic bits in this as well?
Yes, there are. So there's definitely some kind of synth things and a lot of things that kind of sit drone wise also kind of underneath, which just gives it that depth.
Yeah,
that maybe you wouldn't get if it was just like a more acoustic-y folk song, which is what I really, really enjoy about his sound generally, is that it's not one-dimensional. It feels very deep in its kind of Yeah.
I mean, when I first listened to this, I think I was listening to the playlist driving back from Cheltenham, of all places, yesterday
Okay.
about like 9 p.m. at night. So I was going up the M5. I was driving up the
Sounds good.
M5 listening to this and stuff. And yeah, I think when this came on, I did think it was like, oh, this must be like a 1980s kind of like
Ah,
80s deep cut, because it does sound like it's like almost a darkish new wave. But then I think when I listened again today, and I feel quite proud of the fact that I noticed this. This is me. This is the character arc of the podcast learning. Is that there's I think the vocals are actually sound a lot more polished than you would have got than what the music sounds like it's from. Because the music sounds kind of like out of time. Like I generally do feel it feels like it's from the 80s. It's just like the vocal production sounds slightly more polished.
yeah.
And I was listening to that going, yeah, I noticed this stuff now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I noticed this stuff now.
Pat on the back.
Yeah, it's taken 4 and a bit years, but yeah.
No, that's quite nice.
But it's a nice mix. It's a nice kind of mix of stuff. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think definitely be interested to kind of see what else he's capable of doing. Anyway, so
absolutely. And with this playlist, I really wanted to make sure that there was some of my kind of folky stuff.
Yeah, I get
in there, right?
Yeah.
And this hits the spot for me. It's just a really cute song, and it's also not too long. Like, it's one of those songs where you want to play it again immediately. I am definitely a person that likes to have things on repeat. Like, if I find a song that I love, I'm gonna be listening to it 100 times before I'm even slightly tired of it. But this is one of those where I'm like, I need to play that again. It was so cute. Let's go again.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's only 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 49 seconds, and I'm not going to go on my kind of long song thing again. People are probably sick of it already. So the next song. So what's the next song?
The next song is "A Million Times Better" by Griff.
So Griff is a name that I'm familiar with just by osmosis. That I think the music kind of blogs and news sites that I'm kind of into, which cover kind of my kind of music taste. She's appeared on there quite a few times. I think she's been on the cover of DIY or Dork at least once.
Yeah, she's really cool. She's young, she's cool. She makes all her own clothes for any like performance and red carpet event, which I really like. And she posts hysterical videos of her mum not being that impressed with her musical achievements, and I just enjoy it. But this song is a pop song.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, just the first words are, "You make me feel a million times better when I'm with you." I just really like it. I think this is another one that I found, is it 2020 or maybe early 2021? Whenever it came out. I don't know when it came out. I feel like I should know that. I don't. But yeah, this just has...
October 2020.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I just really enjoy her voice. And some people I've had interesting debates with people about Griff and her voice and her thing, and how they feel that she writes amazing songs. I had one friend say that they think she writes amazing songs, but they should be sung by other people. And I don't agree. I think she writes amazing songs, and I think she sings them well. But yeah, there's something about her that people are like undecided about, I think. But yeah, this I just enjoy. I enjoy the poppiness of this. I enjoy kind of the musicality as a whole makes you feel happier. Even though the lyrics are obviously happy, there's the musicality to it just kind of lifts it. And it is a kind of, I feel like it's a slow pop jam also, but it feels quite light and quite happy. Yeah, this one took me a while to find, actually, to like pop it into the playlist. But I'm really glad I did, because I think it's another nice new love song, kind of from someone who's kind of more fresh and new in the industry.
Yeah, it's I think it's got that very kind of like very Gen Z pop sound. Yeah, so it's I don't it's not exactly Billie Eilish, but it's that kind of, feels like it's that kind of pop sound that's kind of adjacent to that's come off from like it's not the trappy sounds from what she is, but there's like an electronic almost.
Yes. Yeah.
Not garage. What am I trying to think of? What am I thinking of? It's the evolution. It's the evolution of dubstep without the drop, where like there's elements of it and stuff. Whereas, yeah, and I think yeah, like at the moment, like I don't know if you've heard of Piri and Tommy, who do always. They're kind of like a duo who they sound like they're bringing garage music back from the early noughties. So they've got like a very kind of, it's very similar to this, where they've got a very kind of light, kind of easy to listen to, not very light, not layered, not dense in terms of a load of things happening at once.
Yeah.
But they've got that kind of like relaxed, like it feels up tempo but relaxing at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm missing the. I can't remember what the word is. Someone's probably shouting the word at me, but I can't remember what I'm trying to. I know
exactly what you mean. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. No, yeah, that is what I get from this song, and that is what I get kind of from Griff generally. She's also a producer, so that's an added thing that I really love about her. So that she produces all her own stuff as well, and that's rare. Women in production, not many of them take up space there, so it's lovely for someone so young to be kind of doing so much and writing exquisite pop songs.
I think it also kind of feels like thematically, lyrically wise, to follow from. It's like the next stage from the previous song, so we're kind of back into the narrative elements of the playlist. And I think again with it coming out, I can kind of see it that this was this another kind of personal thing where you listen to it at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. It doesn't carry as much weight as Novo Moore's album, and that song I Feel Better does, but it was definitely rewind, catch me driving me mum's car, listening to this full blast. Yeah. That sounds about right.
Okay, so let's move on to the next song, which is song number 8.
Song number 8, Easy to Love, Sam Evian.
Mm-hmm.
This was another easy-ish pick once I was in the groove. It took me a while to get but no, Sam Evian, I absolutely adore. He is a songwriter, musician, producer. He is a fantastic kind of, I suppose it's kind of Americana, country folk kind of vibes. He has worked with some artists that I absolutely adore. He has a label out in the States that they only represent fantastic artists, and his girlfriend is a singer-songwriter called Hannah Cohen, and she's amazing, and she actually features singing on this song, and a lot of others.
He's Saddle Creek. He's from Saddle Creek.
Mm.
Kind of, that as soon as I saw, I had a quick look as you was talking about which label he was on. As soon as you said Saddle Creek, I fully understand. The music clicks. Yeah, this is very Saddle Creekish. Yeah.
Absolutely, and he is such a wonderful songwriter, but also, there's brass in this song that just fills a space that maybe somebody else would think, oh, I'll put a guitar solo in there. Kind of to go standard with this sort of thing. Oh, I'll put a guitar solo in there, but there's brass in there, and I just really enjoy that contrast. And he's obviously singing to Hannah, saying, "You make it so easy just to love you," and that's really cute. And I saw Hannah Cohen live in 2019, and he was in her band. So in a sense, I have seen him, but not really.
Yeah,
I have physically seen him. I chatted to him, seen him in the flesh. I have not heard him play his stuff, which is sad. But he is another person that I just find. If I have a day where I don't know what I want to listen to, and I haven't quite decided what vibe I need, I suppose if I haven't decided what my mood is that day, just generally, he's the sort of person that I go to. And this is the sort of song that just feels like that to me,
Okay. This is kind of like it's a nice tonal shift. So it's like the nice kind of handbrake turn from you've got the kind of like chilled out vibes
Yeah.
And then you suddenly got full band, brass, guitars coming at you, kind of like being a lot more positive, a lot more kind of secure in terms. If you're thinking of the narrative of the playlist, this is further down. I mean, this was released again, May 2021.
Yeah.
So, following timeline, this feels a lot more kind of bombastic, loud, kind of very upbeat, very positive.
Yeah.
Very positive.
Absolutely. Yeah, his stuff is just really lovely. And every artist that he works with always, he's one of those people that you know that whoever he works with or whoever he posts something with, you know it's going to be gold.
Mm-hmm.
He just gives me that vibe. And yeah, I think he lives in the wilderness with Hannah and their dogs. Like, looks like a pretty nice life, making music like this, filling people's hearts with joy out there.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the genius annotation on the end of it. There's a saxophone and a trumpet as well. Yeah. So, and the baritone sax is by John Natchez, who is from the War on Drugs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, War on Drugs, another band that we covered on the podcast.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I did quite like this one. This was a nice kind of uplifting build up to raise your hopes and stuff. Goes, what can possibly come to knock the joyful feeling in this?
Wow, there's only one person that could do that for us today, and that's Dolly Parton. I Will Always Love You by Dolly Parton. The best version of this song, in my personal opinion. Ooh.
It might be because one, I was 7 or 8 when the Whitney Houston version came out, and it was absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think, and by osmosis, I think it was at the time where it was like number one and on top of the pops for weeks and weeks and weeks, that it's one of those songs that I never realised was a cover until years and years later. I think that's how much it was in the popular zeitgeist.
I think it took me, I think maybe I was in my early teens when I was kind of discovering Dolly Parton for myself, for my country loving soul. When I realized that she'd written the original for this. So that I understand, that I do get. But when I heard this, I was just like, sorry, Whitney, get out. This is all I need. So yeah, it had to be this version on this playlist.
To the point, I think what's quite interesting about it is that I am actually not sure if I've actually listened to this version all the way through until now, until this playlist. Because
what did you think?
I mean, I think out of kind of like the nostalgia, I think I still kind of prefer the Whitney Houston version.
Fair enough.
Purely because I think, and nothing against Dolly Parton, I think there's a strength to Whitney Houston's voice for that, and that final that like echoed for like almost half a year.
Yeah. I mean, look, Whitney Houston's voice is exquisite. We cannot say that it is not. I am not a massive ballad fan.
Mm-hmm.
I am not someone that enjoys like a good belt, really, I suppose. So Whitney Houston's version is obviously wonderful. But the softness that Dolly brings to this, Dolly and I were on first name basis now, so I feel like the softness that she brings to this makes this song more emotional. Like Whitney Houston's like technique and kind of all of that, yes, I see that being other people's favorite version of the song, but the rawness that you get with Dolly's voice just gives me that, I don't know, that warm feeling inside when I listen to this.
What I think what this probably does is, and this one does, that I think the Whitney Houston bit loses, that I think this is a lot more either melancholic or it has that kind of like, it's a sad love song, which...
Do you see why I like it now?
the sad version. But I think, so it kind of recontextualizes the song. And the example I always give is Hurt by Johnny Cash versus Nine Inch Nails, about how you got the same song and it completely recontextualizes depending on who the singer, who the person is. I think this is kind of like, I think this is very similar in that I think the lyrics are exactly the same, but there's always something slightly more uplifting, like misleadingly uplifting from the Whitney Houston version.
Yes, yes, and it is just her voice, I suppose, and the more polished arrangement and production of that than this. But yeah, the way that Dolly Parton phrases things generally has always been something that I've loved, and always been something that I've kind of leaned towards in that sense. And this just hits the spot. It's not a song I would ever want to cover or ever want to sing, because how do you top Dolly Parton and Whitney Houston? You just can't, can you? Even just kind of casually, I would never sing along. Really, I'm listening to it to enjoy it. But yeah, Dolly Parton she writes such beautiful songs, and when she sings it, and her phrasing, even in the verses and in the chorus, feels very raw and very vulnerable to me. And I think that's something that I obviously lean towards anyway, but that I just really, really enjoy. So it just had to be Dolly.
It adds. I think it gave me a better understanding of the original song. Well, it is the original song, Matthew. But yeah, so like
no, I know what you mean. Though.
Yeah, like the track, like the kind of more tragic, like the more, like, oh yes, but yeah, we're gonna go different ways. But
yeah,
you've been a part of me, and yeah, like it's one of those things. Like it's pretty much like every single kind of like TV breakup where it's by main characters and like they realise crap, the two main characters are gonna have to share screen time but no longer be in love. It's that kind of conversation which is probably lifted from this song.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is pretty much like all of Rory Gilmore's breakups.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good person to use, to be fair.
It's the Rory Gilmore song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it adds that kind of like tragic element to it, and not being able to think it's a way of kind of accepting perhaps grief of an end of relationship, or of trying to come to a mindset of what's happened to like either that something's ended, and depending on how it ended, it could be bad, but still there were moments in that that either changed you for the better, and there's a positive. There are still impacts that people have, and there are probably positive impacts that people have, even if your feelings towards them are different.
Absolutely.
So it's a nice kind of tribute to that in terms of like, so Bittersweet Memories, that's what I'm taking with me, which is from that, I think, verse 2, which again kind of encapsulates that, okay, we had these things that happened, they're like, I don't know, like TV shows or music or movies or events or places even, and I'm taking those with me.
But it is a nice storyline in the way of a love song, because often relationships and friendships break down, and you can still look back on those times with love and know that you know, as I say, like, platonically or not, like, or romantically, that there are lots of moments in life where you look back and you think, oh yeah, that was bittersweet, or I still have love for that person, I just don't love them anymore. And I like that, and I do think it's a really lovely love song. I think obviously it's sad, but I do think it definitely fills that space, doesn't it, of also being able to put how you feel about something into words, which a lot of people do struggle with. It's quite nice to have a song like this that just kind of fits the bill for that.
For some reason, my hay fever has been. I'm not actually crying. My eyes have been.
Dolly does have that effect.
Yeah.
Even just thinking and talking about it can make anyone cry.
My right eye is stone dry. It's the stone dry one. Okay, so we're going to go up to our last song. And considering this, before we do that, considering this was basically an element of this episode, I came up on the fly at about half an hour ago, you still have your card to play about the song. However, you've only got one song to play it on. So
is it this one?
It's not.
Oh no, I forgot all about it. I forgot all about it.
See now the song. It's if you want to guess. I mean, you can guess, but you're not going to get the plaudits.
No, I
understand.
Is it? You're Still the One? No, I knew that was a rogue choice. I don't know why I went for that. I don't know why I went for that at all.
I'm quite surprised you did. I mean, you must have forgotten it because I'm surprised you've forgotten it because basically I brought it up just as before we started talking about the song, and I was really positive about it, which was The Cure. The Cure, Friday I'm in Love. No, I love that song.
When you said it first, that was my first pick. I thought it has to be that. Mm-hmm. And then my second was the last song that we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But when you said that you hadn't listened to all of their stuff, I wondered if I'd somehow, that was like I know they do, I know. Yeah. But I just wondered if that was some sort of hint, like, oh, it's not these guys. Not quite.
Oh, no.
That was my first guess. I'm so annoyed. I should have known. I should have stuck to my guns. You threw me off the scent.
But yeah, I thought because The Cure was my guess for the thing. Yeah. I was like, and I just thought you've forgotten the.
I know, I did forget. I'm so sorry.
And a part of me was like, if I bring it up now, she's going to think, oh, he's brought it up at this like. Yeah, it's like if you're playing a murder mystery. It's like playing a murder mystery and you've forgotten the things and you're reading out the stuff and someone goes, "Are we supposed to guess first? Are we supposed to guess who the killer is before we start reading the last bit?" Because why are you asking? No reason.
Yeah. If you'd have done that, I'd have also been like, no, he's thrown me off. Yeah. He's doing it on purpose. That was quite genuinely, hand on heart, that was the one I was going to go for before we started chatting, and I forgot about it and then panicked and for some reason said Shania Twain. I'll take it back.
But yeah, no, I was going.
Friday I'm in Love, of course.
Yeah, as I was going through that, I was going through my list of like my favorite songs and stuff. I'm like, Jesus, I'm a sad person here. There's no like kind of positive love song. Oh, hang on, no, that's it. Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah,
ding, 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 ding.
There is some light in the cold dark heart, in the cold stone like heart that is in the chest.
I understand. It is an absolute banger. It also is the most you on this list, which is one of the reasons I picked that and a couple of others. I thought, oh, sure you'd like this. But yeah, I've let myself down. I'm so sorry.
So we get to our final track.
We do.
Helena. Yes. Helena, what have you chosen to close off the Valentine's Day playlist?
I've chosen This Must Be the Place, Talking Heads.
This Must Be the Place. It's not this version, but the live version from Stop Making Sense has appeared in the podcast before when we covered Stop Making Sense. Now, I had to stop myself from saying covering a live album because I'm pretty sure this is the only live album we've covered on the podcast. Gross. But this is the album version, isn't it? This is not the Stop Making Sense version. No. So why have you picked this?
Do you know what? I actually don't know when this came out. And I decided not to look up that because I thought you can talk to us about it. You can tell us about that, I'm sure. But I only found and fell in love with this song recently. So this song on this playlist was the last one added because it was also the most recent one added to my kind of favorite songs at the moment. And I just blooming love it. There is something so cheerful, so upbeat, and just feel good about everything. And I love his voice. I love absolutely all of it. But yeah, I don't know how I've only just fallen in love with this. But yeah, I'm glad that I found it because it just ticks all the right boxes for me.
Yeah, I think Talking Heads, I don't know that many songs. I don't actually know that many songs from them. Apart from a few singles that ended up being on This Must Be the Place, no, on Stop Making Sense.
Yeah.
my main thing about This Must Be the Place, Naive Melody, was the fact that there was a podcast series called This Must Be the Gig, where where the host would be talking to musicians about their live music performance history and stuff. And that podcast hasn't been updated for years, and I miss it. I miss it very much. So that was kind of my kind of like reference point for This Must Be the Place. This Must Be the Place. To the point that I keep referring to it as This Must Be the Gig instead of This Must Be the Place. But again, Talking Heads are a band that I think I kind of should have perhaps listened to a bit more than I have done.
Yeah, same.
I have done, but there is kind of like a nice, kind of relaxing, almost like also good pick to end the playlist to. There's kind of like a nice wind down.
And it feels almost horizontal in its kind of like in its vibe, and I feel like the rhythm section's like pulling everything else backwards. Like, slow down a bit, chill out with us. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's got like I think the Genius annotation saying that Dave Burns called it the most direct love lyrics he's ever written. And Genius also carries on. The islandy vibe is the beautiful song. Of this beautiful song is the soundtrack for when everything in your life is just peachy. So,
yeah, fair enough. I get that.
Yeah, and I think as well. I think the Valentine's Day playlist needs to have an uplifting kind of ending. It's not bombastic. It's not the kind of Sam Evian heavy produced stuff. It's the 80s. It's like early 80s. Like kind of minimalist, kind of like synths and
and it's fantastic. It is. You're right. And when I put this at the bottom, it just felt like the right thing to round it off. And that is me trying to think in terms of putting a good playlist together. You know, tying it all up. And this feels like you tie it in a bow.
Yeah. But again, the Genius annotation at the bottom states the naive melody part of the title refers to the repetitive guitar and keyboard bass line played by relative amateurs. Tina Weymouth and David Byrne play the guitar and keyboards respectively, even though Weymouth was the bassist and Byrne usually played guitar. This naivety, with a less is more philosophy, adds a charming sense of simplicity to the song that reflects the theme of everything being at peace.
I love that. That makes sense as to why I enjoy this song so much.
So kind of like they're playing instruments that they're not really familiar with.
Yeah.
So it's basically me on the keyboard when I first had one going. But
it's funny because I mean, you said we'd talk about this at the end, but I'm in a band and I'm the bassist in a band, and I've only played bass for the band. I'm not a bassist. I have to start calling myself a bassist now because I suppose I am one, but I've never played bass in a band before, ever. I've messed around and on some demos and recordings for myself, I've played the bass on those, but nothing serious. So for me, when I'm writing bass lines and when I'm working on things, everything is quite simple because I'm figuring it out still. And I've been playing for under a year on the bass kind of seriously with the band now. And we were in rehearsals just last night and I came up with a new like section of a bass line for a song we've been playing live for a while. And the boys were like, "Oh, I love this. And they joked and said, when you are a really, really good bassist, you are going to wish that you could write simple bass lines like this. Like, just go back to basics." And they were kind of laughing like, "Oh, once you've fully got the hang of it, you're going to miss being able to strip it back to the simplicity of just a really simple bass line, filling in gaps rather than, you know, overplaying or doing something really cool or whatever." And so that is interesting to know that that's what they've done on this song. And I love the bass line. And I love that is kind of a swap in that band. I really enjoy that. And I didn't know that. But now it makes tons of sense to me. And I feel like it's quite fitting, I suppose, with where I am in life right now. So it's. And again,
it goes from perhaps funny enough, when we're talking about the kind of Valentine's Day love being about, and I'm sure the song is probably about romantic love as well, but then it kind of reverts to perhaps for you personally being about the love of music rather than perhaps romantic love. And for a music podcast slash playlist about music, a nice kind of way to end that. But
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But so we're at the end of the playlist, and a few of the closing arrangement sections we don't really. I mean, we talked about the live. It says, "Have you ever seen the band live?" Well, there's 10 of them. I mean,
if only.
I mean, how many? I mean, I'm assuming all of them that you haven't seen are on here. You must.
Yes. Obviously, like I feel like the pandemic pushed me back on the people that I wanted to see, and I didn't feel comfortable going to gigs for a while. But this year I have loads of gigs lined up, and there are lots of people that I want to see and lots of cool things that I'm ticking off one by one. So yeah, there are definitely a fair few on this playlist that I need to see live, that's for sure.
Oh, okay. So and again, before we finish, it's the important question, the song for the Spotify playlist. So you've got one song off this playlist that you have to, that's going to be immortalised forever, on the Spotify Hall of Fame playlist. It will be following a Tegan and Sarah song, which I've forgotten to write down on the on the spreadsheet. So
a surprise.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, and I've tried to decide whilst I was working today which one would I pick. I'm torn between Easy to Love, Sam Evian, and This Must Be the Place, Talking Heads. I think to be true to myself, maybe I'm going to go with This Must Be the Place.
Open brackets, naive melody, close brackets.
Yes, please. Thank you.
This must be the place. Open brackets, naive melody.
That's the one. It has to be. What a way to round off the playlist. It has to be that one.
I've just gone back to the spreadsheet to look at what was chosen for Talking Heads Stop Making Sense.
Yeah. Go on.
Which was This Must Be the Place, Naive Melody, the live version.
No way! So do I have to pick another one? Shall I put
No. Say I can't veto it. I just thought I'd point that out. So I was listening, going, actually, what was the song for that? So we now have.
That crossed my mind.
That was so we've got two versions of the same song on the playlist.
Is that the first time?
Sorry?
Is that the first time you've had two versions of the same song in there? Yeah,
we've had. I think we've only had one artist be done twice for two different albums, which was The Streets.
Ooh.
So this is probably going to be one of the only times that This Must Be the Place, open brackets, naive melody, close brackets, gets the honour of having two different versions of this.
Wow.
On the...
Aren't they lucky?
Yeah. But have you seen Stop Making Sense?
No.
I very recommend it. I've not watched it since I did the episode on it.
Yeah.
But the way it's set up is great because it opens up with just Dave Byrne singing Psycho Killer on his own, and every song a member of the band joins up. So it takes 6 songs for every member. So by the third song there's a third member, but on the fourth song a fourth member comes in.
Nice.
And the way it filmed, it's great because you don't get really a sense of the crowd. It's all focused on the band themselves, and there's like kind of weird set pieces. I mean, he's dancing around a lamp for this song and stuff. So I think it's on. I think the whole thing's on YouTube.
Right, that's what I need to do then.
Yeah,
I'll be doing that.
It's a really kind of good thing. And anyone listening, also go back and listen to the episode where I spoke about Stop Making Sense, because quite a lot of callbacks in this episode. But
nice, I like that.
So, yep. So, for I cannot envision another time there will be the same song will appear on the playlist again. But This Must Be the Place. The recorded version appears on the playlist this onto the Spotify Place Hall of Fame. So that's it. We're now at the end of a fifth conversation on the podcast, Helen. It's been great to have you back.
It's been such a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'm surprised it's taken this long, but
I know. What have we been doing? Well, you've been busy recording a lot. A lot.
And you said you've now joined a band, so you can tell us a little bit about that.
So in kind of early 2022, me and some lads that I met at university, we formed a band. We're called Bow Jockey, and we kind of write kind of ambient folky stuff, and we have a lot of fun. It is the most fun I've ever had, and I enjoy being the only female in the band and the bassist. That is a nice space for me to take up, and I sing backing vocals, so I have a lot of fun playing around and kind of figuring that out. And our lead singer Sam has a spectacular voice, so I get to kind of play around and figure out how to make him sound better. That's what I enjoy the most. And it's just five friends hanging out, making music and enjoying ourselves. We have a lot of gigs coming up this year. So far, we only have gigs lined up in London, but we are hoping to start zipping around the country. So, when we're in Birmingham, I'll be letting you know.
Yeah. Because remember when I've been on your podcast so many times? Yeah, you got to pay. Time to repay the favour.
Oh no, not like that. Not like that.
Oh no, no. But no, actually, no, I get on the day of recording. I'm pretty sure yesterday you had a song. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, we did. We released our second single, which, when you'll be listening to this, will have been out for almost a month.
Yes.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
You can cut that out.
Oh no! I've made jokes about it. I've made jokes about the. You should listen to all the New Year's resolutions I was talking about in November. It's great.
I love that. Yeah. I love it so much. But so it'll been out nearly a month, and it has been a lot of fun. And we've recorded a record, but we've released 2 singles so far, and we recorded the whole thing live. So lots of fun, and just enjoying getting out there and gigging. I've always been a solo artist, and I've always gigged alone. And in recent years, I started doing gigs with my best friend, my guitarist Dustin, who's also in the band. And so that was a nice kind of way to kind of get used to playing with people again, because since university I haven't played in a band in a long time now. But playing with lots of people is so much fun, and it's a nice change. And it's also nice not to be the lead singer. There's so much pressure that comes with that.
No pressure whatsoever.
Yeah.
No, but I've listened. I think I've listened to the list. I've not listened to your first one. I think the fact it's about 6 minutes or something kind of like.
So I mean, our lead singer who writes our songs, he is the man of many verses and exceptionally long intros. Now, on our first single, there is a long drone intro with lots of things kind of coming in and out. So if you want to speed up, maybe skip yourself to 1 minute 46, I think. That's when we start playing.
That's the radio edit.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah, but
so funny.
But no, I did enjoy listening to the. I can't remember the name of it. That you like single.
What? Make and Made.
Make it, yeah. I never got me the letter M.
So many M's. Our first single's called My, so they're all M's coming out this time. But
a lot of M&Ms.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you're in Birmingham, I'd love to go and see live. I mean, technically, I think the only time I've actually met you in person was when you played at my very catastrophic first ever gig. So,
remember it vividly. I still have the little business card that you gave me. When was that? Like,
that was
2012.
I think so, yeah. Look, like 11 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
2012.
That is mad. Yeah, I remember it vividly. Wild. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Man, time flies.
Time does. So scary. So scary. And I still feel unbelievably young. Like, I turn 28 next week. And everyone keeps being like, oh, you're zooming towards 30. And I'm like, I am so young in it. Like, my brain is at least maybe maximum like 19 or 20. Like, I don't, but age is just a number. It's a social construct. We're all weird.
Mentally, I don't feel 37, but physically, I do feel that.
Actually, that I also get. Yeah, my knee's wrecked. What's happening? Yeah. No.
So, thank you ever so much for coming on, and hopefully it won't be too long before you come to try and challenge Colin's sixth appearance.
Yeah, I'm serious, Colin. I'm coming for you. Thanks so much for having me. I really love doing these. It's such a pleasure.
You've been listening to Pick a Disc, and I've been your host, Matthew Labour. Our theme music is Pump by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Pick a Disc is hosted by the We Made This podcast network, and you can find them on www.spreaker.com/user/We Made This. You can find the Pick a Disc show site on www.spreaker.com/show/pickadisc. You can find us on all the usual social media type places like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter under Pick a Disc. You can also email us on pickadisc@gmail.com. Until next time, happy listening to all those discs that you are picking. Goodbye.
You know what's tricky sometimes? Picking who is going to win at the Oscars. You have to get yourself to a cinema to see all the movies, or at least have all the possible streaming services to make sure you don't miss a single one. You have to pay attention to all the precursor award shows to see who's winning so far. The Golden Globes, the BAFTAs, they're the pretty obvious ones. But don't forget the Critics' Choice Awards, or the SAGs, or the DGAs, or the PGAs, or the Eddies, or the Gothams, or the AFI Top 10, or the National Board of Review. Ugh. Exhausting, right? Or you can just join me for Academy Watch on the We Made This podcast network. I'm the host, Bo Nicholson, and I've been reading the trends, keeping stats, and seeing as many movies as humanly possible, and I can tell you who the big players will be on the big night. Me and a different guest each week will also be dissecting one of the key movies each season, including giving out personal awards and diving into them thematically. Will Everything Everywhere All at Once remain the frontrunner and win Best Picture? Or will a film seize the momentum late in the season to storm home, like Coda did last year? Time will tell, but what I do know is that as it happens, you'll hear it on Academy Watch, wherever you get your podcasts.